Right, what are we saying? What are we saying? We're working. Who jumped? They're making anyone jump today. A bit quiet. You just let me just fix my. How are we doing? How are we doing? We're gonna be talking about trans girl guide today. I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit worried about researching some of. It's not gonna look amazing, but I'm somewhat interested in this conversation, I guess. I think there was some interesting stuff that came up in the Cambridge thing yesterday that I really wanna get more into and maybe write a thing about like some of these activist type kind of dying on really ridiculous hills. Just to be clear, by the way, I don't care. Like, I don't see why it matters very much whether trans girls can be in the girl guides or not. Like, it just doesn't fucking matter to me. I don't know why other people push it as if it's some horrible thing that they've been banned. When I don't even know. I don't even know who joins. I don't even know who joins the girl guides. That's a thing I'm gonna have to look into. It kind of seems like a very like middle class thing. We're running around acting like we're all oppressed, and then when people ask for an example, it's things like, "Oh well, trans girls are being banned from the girl guide." Like, wow. But we're gonna get into it, I guess. Um, what's weird? There was kind of a scandal about it. Um, in 2018, apparently there was a policy where guide leaders were not allowed to tell parents whether someone else was trans. So I guess it used to be a lot more inclusive, I guess. I don't know. Well, I've got some stuff I want to watch. We'll do some reading. Really, I think the point I want to build to is that we have a lot of kind of bougie activist types like Helen Webley and like that Katie Neves person who push this kind of thing when it really actually isn't helpful at all to the average trans person, especially those that actually do face like a lot of hardship, a lot of like poverty and stuff like that. And it's just a really silly thing to like fucking bang on about. Yeah. You get these like wealthy activists, some of whom make a lot of their money like off the backs of trans people or make their money inserting themselves as trans representation, whether or not we actually want them to. Which is a big frustration of mine with people like Katie Neves, because that person, as soon as they started transitioning, they were a fucking trans ambassador. They made a lot of money and were very successful before transitioning, didn't transition until later in life. Had like money, had connections, had been a crossy for a long time. They can just insert themselves and whatever talking points they want to bring up, it's like, well, that becomes our shit. And I think a lot of people follow along. But I guess we'll get into that. There'll be some like retreading because I do want to go back over a couple of bits of that Cambridge Union debate, especially that there was the Indian lady that spoke at one point that brought up some interesting stuff. And then we'll end up looking a bit at some of the Katie Neves stuff because I need to get down. I feel like whenever I react to stuff like that and I get irritated, all this running around at like award ceremonies and shit, I'm not very good at expressing what it is that bothers me so much, and I think that's partly why I want to really get down into it and make a thing about it. Hi Billy, hope you're good. But yeah, make sure you like the stream. Don't forget you can super chat on YouTube, Streamlabs, etc., etc. Yeah, I want to look very quickly. Hello Sven Kier. I have a Twitch viewer. It's crazy. I keep thinking I should just get rid of my Twitch, but I don't know. Occasionally someone shows up. Yeah, I'll have a quick look at the stuff that was going on back in 2018 around this subject. Where else do I stream? I stream on YouTube. I'm at the Merichu Live on YouTube. That's where most people are at. If you see the chat is on screen, most of it is like YouTube icon. Whereas on Twitch, I get like 1 or 2 viewers, and it's been that way the entire time. Bear with me. That's what I need. Make sure you like my stream. That's it. You can super chat on YouTube, Streamlabs. You can gift memberships. You can join. Check the links in my description. I have music. I have a Discord server. Sorry, I have to keep changing the size of the window. That'll do. That'll do. Okay, the first thing was this, which was Piers Morgan weighs in on Girl Guide's transgender row. So the Girl Guides were a lot more inclusive back in 2018. They had a policy introduced that meant that guide leaders can't tell parents that someone there is male rather than female. So they've gone from this to now banning trans girls from the Girl Guide. So we'll see what this was, and then the rest of it will be much more recent kind of stuff, and I don't know, I'll be making notes, I guess. I've written down a few things because I want to make something. I think it's a good dynamic to be able to kind of stream about stuff and then find stuff that I want to hone in on and make like scripted stuff about it, because I do want to keep writing stuff. I don't just want to sit and react to things the whole time. Oh, hey, there you go, you found it. Anyway, let's see what this was first. So it's on Good Morning Britain, back when Piers Morgan was on there, I guess.
You're the mum of a trans daughter who's now 25. So you've got a very personal reason for feeling passionate about this issue. A lot of parents will have read this story.
Okay, so 2 leaders were expelled for questioning this as well. Bear in mind, people say about, oh, you can't say anything. Like, that was a bit more true, like 5 to 10 years ago. There was quite a lot of, this is how it is now, trans identity, trans women are women, all this shit. And if you think otherwise, then it's a problem. And I think that is correcting now. I think it's better than it used to be. Obviously, I mean, I probably mention it decently often, but I'm not like a free speech absolutist, but I'm not super far off,
Story and be concerned.
I would imagine that they would be, based on the narrative that they're hearing, which is essentially based around the fact that transgender girls are an issue and are a safeguarding issue and a threat. The actual reality is very different from...
Susie Green literally has a trans child, so bear in mind, heavy bias. And is it about trans girls are an issue, or is it about you'll have a male person potentially in amongst girls in what would normally be considered like a female-only space? There are reasons as to why female people... I hate that I have to talk like this, by the way. There are reasons why like female people might want the odd space away from male people. And now we're saying, oh, well, now you have to allow them in. You know what I mean?
That, and actually trans girls are far more at risk of abuse, prejudice, and we know that from the statistics around self-harm and suicide.
I think the issue...
Like, we can bring up statistics, self-harm, suicide, but you're also making the other argument for them by saying, well, statistically, males are far more likely to victimize females, like sexual assault, stuff like that. You bring a trans girl along with a bunch of girls on a school trip. Maybe they're not puberty blocked or anything, They're sleeping in the same quarters. It doesn't sound like the best idea.
Issue is around the fact that Girl Guides are 10 to 14 years old, and you may have a transgender girl who still has, obviously, a male body. And there is, I'm sure you will say, totally unreasonable concern about that mix in an exclusively girl
Why
group.
is it unreasonable, that concern?
Well, if you think about it, generally trans girls have issues with their body. The reason that they are identifying as female is because they don't identify with their body. So actually they are far more likely to have issues around the fact that they have still got a male body. And the fact is there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever to say that trans girls are a threat and that any issue around abuse has ever happened.
It doesn't have to be a threat, though, does it?
And this policy is now, this is a couple of years old. This isn't a new policy. This is something that's been around for quite some time. And it just seems that every time there's an
This is a new policy here, but she's saying otherwise.
opportunity to have a go at trans girls, I mean, these are children. These are children who want to be around for quite some time. And it just seems that every time there's an opportunity to have a go at trans girls, I mean, these are
It's all about just having a go at trans girls. Like, I really hate this kind of thing. I'm sorry. Like, whatever we don't like, just characterize it as attacking a group of people. Again, we can do this the same way in the other way. Oh, well, you just don't want women to have any of their own spaces. Oh, well, you think that males should be able to go everywhere that females can go and stuff like that. You're just attacking women. Like, it's not productive either way. Like, are there not better arguments than
children. These are children who want to be with their friends.
Caroline Farrow, you don't agree. Why?
Okay, well, first,
By the way, I can't imagine wanting to join. Like, if I was trans when I was like 13 or whatever, like joining the Girl Guides or something, that would be like fucking dysphoria hell for me. I'd be feeling like completely. I'd be feeling inappropriate. I don't know. I couldn't do it.
as you pointed out, a trans girl still has a male body. And it's not about saying all trans people are rapists, but actually they've still got a male body. They may or may not be on puberty blockers, which chemically castrates children. So, you may have somebody with a fully functioning male body. You put girls and boys in the same tents together, in the same sleeping quarters. If you have a school trip, a residential trip, you always segregate out the sexes because one sex can impregnate another.
There is a point here with, like, how do you do that? Where do you put a male person? Like, would they normally control for this? Obviously they wouldn't until recently. They wouldn't have controlled for this kind of thing because it's just girls,
It doesn't necessarily have to be rape or abuse involved. The other thing...
What I really need as well, I need, like, statistics and stuff. I need to know how many trans girls have really joined the Girl Guide. I need to know what kinds of people join the Girl Guides as well. What kind of demographics we're looking at. My guess is mostly, like, more middle class. Does it cost anything? But this is what I mean. I'm going to end up on a fucking list because I'm looking at all this fucking shit. Oh, there's ranges now. I didn't know about that. Big donation. I'm not registering a child. I don't have one. Okay, how much does it cost? Costs vary from area to area, so it does cost money. Obviously, the most impoverished kind of people are not going to be able to afford this, potentially. Obviously, your stereotypical impoverished fucking homeless 15-year-old trans child ain't joining the fucking... Well, they're a bit too old, but probably ain't joining the Girl Guides, I'm not sure. My inkling is it's mostly like middle class, like parents of supposed trans kids, the kind of people that go to someone like Helen Weberly that are really affected by this. And this is what I mean. If it's become like a talking point for like activists. There's been like protests and shit over this kind of thing. But it's like, why? Why is this the kind of thing that we care about so much? Why does this matter?
To remember is that actually, although this policy has been around for ages and ages, supposedly, it was buried very deeply on the Girl Guiding website. And it was only when the leaders raised concerns and said, hang on a minute, this is a safeguarding risk. I think most parents would be unhappy. And the other thing, there's two other points. I mean...
Okay, so whoever did the description for this is a fucking idiot. So it's not that it's a new policy, it's that it's recently come up and a couple of people got fired for questioning it.
This new policy excludes religious communities, people of faith. It excludes girls from those communities. It also excludes, very importantly, girls who may have been subject to sexual abuse and need safeguarding.
Susie, can I just say, we're not talking about excluding transgender girls from guides. The policy is simply...
Well, it's excluding males, but traditionally males would have been excluded anyway, so it's not like any kind of additional exclusion.
That parents should be aware of this mix, but that these guide leaders say, well, why can't you tell parents?
But actually,
because you've talked about the fact that we're talking about children here.
We're talking about
and when
children.
we talk about children who are under 16, and their parents have a right to know things which might affect
overall cost to each brand. We just don't have them in poor areas. Okay, well, that's even less reason as to why it matters. The kinds of trans people that really need help and that activists should really be focusing on uplifting, I would have thought. I don't know, I'm going to get annoying and kind of lefty on some of this shit, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I think attacking trans activism from the left is actually extremely important at this point. And honestly, I'm glad I watched that this Cambridge thing now, because it actually really raised some interesting things. But I'm gonna go back over this, because it was this Indian lady in particular that I think brought up some quite interesting stuff.
Yeah, but what you're doing is you're picking on a marginalised group of children who have already been subjected often to abuse within their own within their environment.
But perhaps you would tell parents so that their girls can be more understanding.
You think that's going to happen?
Okay, people in chat seem to be agreeing. Yeah, it really, I don't know. We're focusing on the wrong kinds of people. We need, if activism is important, then it needs to be about uplifting people, not about complaining at every tiny thing. And honestly, I wonder how many of the activists that push this kind of thing are more just affronted that it's a way of saying that trans girls aren't always girls and trans women aren't always women. Which to someone like me, I don't give a fuck about, you know. I don't care which someone thinks I am anymore. I guess I vaguely have a preference because I have gender dysphoria, but I don't give a shit anymore. So I wonder how many people, it's not actually about the fact that trans girls can or can't join the Girl Guide. It's about, well, we have to make sure this happens because trans people have to be, you know, included in their new sex in all facets of life. And I don't think that's realistic, and I don't think we should be pushing for that kind of thing. Oh, thank you, S.T. Johnson. Thank you so much.
No free speech, correct. 24 hours, bitch. Fuck you.
If you're going to be on the list, here's a little bail money.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, I hope it's clear what I'm saying. These people, do they care about girl guiding, or do they care about this means that trans girls in some instances aren't female? This means that you, by extension, as a trans woman, are not actually a woman in all, for all intents and purposes.
In actual fact, what does happen more often than not in these situations is that what you're doing is you are othering those children. What you're doing is you are pointing out their difference.
But they are different.
Yes, I know. And
You can't pretend they're not.
Yeah, I thought the whole point nowadays, and maybe this is this particular video showing its age a bit, so I can't be too harsh, I guess. We all kind of agreed that, like, color blindness doesn't really work. And they're often, like, minorities or, like, people of particular demographics will happily other themselves because to be of that demographic, you know, people are proud to be, you know, this, that, and the other. People are proud to be from wherever. People are proud to be of one heritage or another. People are from different cultures and want to amplify aspects of their culture, you know. I feel like this is a pretty outdated talking point. Well, you're othering people. Well, we other ourselves. And often we're proud to other ourselves. And, you know, we talk about, like, trans visibility, trans, you know, being open, being proud to be trans, stuff like that. You have to accept othering because you other yourself, surely.
Doing is you are pointing out their difference.
But they are different.
I mean, I don't know. The thing is, I'm a complete fucking freak in, like, so many ways. So I guess I don't give much of a fuck about being othered because I'm just so used to it. And because it's just kind of inevitable for some people, like myself. So when people complain too much about being othered, that is Susie Green, yeah. When people complain too much about being other, that almost sounds like kind of a privileged like position to me. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, well, you're trans, you know. You're weird anyway. You're less weird than someone like me who has no choice but to be othered everywhere they go, you know.
Yes, I know. And actually,
you can't pretend
no,
they're
I'm not pretending.
different.
I'm not pretending
my
they're not
problem with this
different.
whole
What I'm
debate-
saying is,
my
across
problem with the whole bit-
equality,
you can't pretend this is not unusual or out of the ordinary. And if there was anything else that was unusual or out of the ordinary, parents would be entitled to just be informed and to make
so
their own
you
decision.
mean, as in, if we were talking about 20 years ago, whether or not a child was gay?
I have a real problem. Okay, here's my.
This is really stupid. We're talking about male people in Girl Guides. We're not talking about lesbians. Has there ever been a thing about lesbians in the Girl Guide? It's not the same thing anyway.
My problem is with this self-identifying element of all this, right? Where we had recently a case of a male rapist
Right, okay.
moved to...
Can we move away?
No.
No, this is about children. Girl Guides is about...
The TTS of Femios is Femios banning me from Troth's chat when they got upset about Parry being better looking than them. I ain't fucking friends with that fucking loser. They can fuck off.
Children being allowed to be children. And this is about children. Girl Guides is about children being allowed to be children. And trans girls who are girls, being allowed to take part in much the same way as everybody else.
Kids of that age on a school trip.
Inclusion being the same as everyone else. Maybe that's just not possible all the time. Painting Femio as this empathetic savior. Yeah, it's crazy. People are like fucking sweeping for fucking Femios so much. None of them have looked at this person's content. TTS means text to speech. No one's like looking at her content and being like, this person is a fucking obnoxious fucking troll who is a complete piece of shit to anyone that remotely gets their ire up. None of them know the fucking law. That fucking Repsion dipshit doesn't know the fucking law. Has absolutely no idea how fucking Firebat and Femios came to know each other. What happened when Firebat was kind of inconsiderate towards Femios and kind of rude. They end up doing these like multiple fucking hours and hours long fucking hate streams. Like completely trashing this person. It's bizarre. Like, I know Parry got really irritated with some of those people. He was like asking me to do a video about it, but I don't know if I can be asked, to be honest. It's a bit gross, but the thing is, I try and talk sense into people that cover that kind of stuff, and they're just too stupid. I try and talk sense into like fucking Aiko and Malcolm and all those other people. They're all too stupid. The people that cover that kind of people are all too stupid to understand what I'm talking about. To understand that it's a bit fucking crazy to like interview a supposed rape victim and all this other kind of shit. And then go around making rape jokes constantly. And like treat it with absolutely no seriousness whatsoever. It's a bit fucking crazy to like integrate that person into your fucking hate cult around their ex that supposedly raped them. This is the most obvious shit in the world and pretty reasonable to say, even if, you know, potentially it's also reasonable to disagree. And these people are all too stupid. So I almost think there's just no point in me fucking talking about it, quite honestly, because they're all too stupid. I don't know if there's a single person other than Parry that's talked about fucking Firebat that isn't just too stupid to understand my point about this shit. So, I don't know. It is disgusting, though. It is disgusting that people sweep for fucking Femios. It's absolutely fucking foul to me. Anyway, sorry, tangent.
Are segregated, but not allowed to share tents and things, right? I know this from my own experience with my
that's
kid,
fine,
right?
but trans girls are girls. Therefore, on school trips.
Trans women are women. Trans women are women. Trans women are women. What the fuck does that mean? No one knows.
But they're girls in boys' bodies, right?
They go into the girls' spaces because they are girls.
Right.
I mean, the bottom line is...
But they're girls in boys' bodies.
So it's just like enforcing this like thing. No one knows what trans women are women means. Trans girls are girls. But it's just the truth now. This is very of its time. Like, it's not surprising at all to me that there was this rule and that people got kicked out for questioning it. That was very of its time. It very much would have been, well, trans girls are girls, end of story. But that doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense, you know?
Yeah, but that doesn't... What? So...
You don't think it matters at all?
So essentially, because you have a penis, we should be worried about what you're going to do with it. Is
well,
that what you're saying?
Hashtag save troughs. I shouldn't mock him. He might end up watching me again one day. Oh wait, no. I'm talking about trans stuff, and he actually tuned out every time I did because, you know, why listen to a trans person on their own issues? Just tell them, just like fucking woke scold them instead. Don't listen to anything they say and then woke scold them about the tiny amount that you actually heard.
Okay, the case that you didn't want me to say, which is an adult. Well, I know it may annoy you, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah.
There was a male rapist in the news only last week who self-identified one day as a woman, got transferred to a female prison and began attacking women there because he's a male rapist.
Tulin. My girlfriend was watching a video about that exact thing, like, recently, and I made a firebat joke about it. I know what you're talking about.
So the idea this is not a concern because of age.
I'm not saying that's not a concern.
Right, it is a concern.
That person
self-identification can be...
No.
What did I miss? Oh, I'm talking about trans girl guides, and I've been looking at, like, the girl guiding website and stuff, and it probably looks extremely dodgy. Is it even worth talking to or about that person? It's not worth talking to or about that person. It potentially is worth talking about the kinds of people that are stupid enough to be brought in by that person and are stupid enough to sweep for that person, if that makes sense. The kinds of people who will pretend that that person has anything but ill intentions in anything that they do. You know, that person is a fucking troll. They were trolling the entire time. There's all these like shitty fucking commentary videos about Firebat where Femyoz was apparently this incredibly magnanimous figure, like that fucking Repsion guy that did one. And then it turned out before he finished his fucking video, he was like in voice chats with Femyoz, going on about how he wants to get like Firebat's fucking address and like hound him in real life and stuff. And they were like, oh my god, yeah. By the way, when I fucking messaged him once or I did an interview with him, I'm like touching the poo and stuff. So I guess that's out the window now because these people are all fucking hypocrites.
That person is a criminal, okay? Right. And that's one case. Right. That person is a criminal. And within the prison service, there is the right for, and let's be honest, there are lots of female prisoners who are also violent and aggressive and abusive. And the fact is that...
There isn't really an argument for letting male people into women's prison. I'm glad we're completely off topic now, though.
The prison state has the ability to put somebody who they would consider to be in the male state, and they didn't. So they basically let down the women prisoners that this person attacked.
Would it be sensible to say, I see you treat trans women as if they are women, but I know they're not the same? I think that's perfectly fine. Honestly, my position is, in as many areas as possible as we're able to treat trans women as women and trans men as men, then we should be able to, and that should be fine. People are still welcome to their opinion. If a specific business or whatever has a bit of a different standard, that's ultimately up to the person that owns that business. There are certain areas in life where I don't think it's realistic to treat trans women as women, and where trans rights and women's rights kind of clash, especially women's. You know, we say we're always focusing on women and like trans women, but it just is a bit different. So yeah, I think that's sensible for sure. I think that's pretty similar to my position. And I have done a lot of misgendering. I have done a lot of calling people men and stuff. I'm trying to be better on that because it is a bit unnecessary. But yeah, I mean, that's my position nowadays.
But that's not what this is about.
Caroline, Susie said that parents shouldn't have the right to know because it makes those transgender girls other. It makes them feel separate and discriminated against, and
that's what I was saying earlier as well. If I was in like the girl guide, or let's say I was put into like a female space, let's say I wanted to play a sport, and I was put onto a women's team, I would feel other because I know that I'm different. I would notice how much more masculine I am because I'm male and stuff. It would like bother me. I don't know. I think you have to just accept that you're going to be other. If you're trans, you have to accept that you're kind of a freak. You're kind of weird. It's actually okay to be weird, you know? But you're just not always going to be treated like you're a normal person unless you're extremely passing. And most trans women, let's be honest, are not very passing, myself included, you know? Like, you just have to kind of accept that. You should go into transitioning knowing that, you know what I mean? People are going to think you're a freak, but you do it because it's better anyway. I mean, in my case, people thought I was a freak already. And I mean, I was very gender non-conforming for years before I transitioned anyway. Like, people just thought I was a trans woman for years before I came out anyway. So it was like barely a change. But it's bizarre to me when people come out as trans and then expect they're just going to be treated like any other member of the sex they're going to. Like, maybe that works for trans men a bit better because their voices drop, they get facial hair, and those are quite strong indicators that this is probably a male person, you know, even if it's not. Like, you just kind of have to accept that people are going to think you're weird, you know? And you are weird, but that's okay. Sometimes weird is good, you know?
Super scrutinised. Why do you think it is important for parents to know?
In order that it's quite simple, so that they can give informed consent. And to actually go back to Piers' issue about self-ID, okay, so if Piers tomorrow decided he was going to be Perselina and put on a dress and, you know, you identified as a woman, Girl Guiding's policy would allow you to be a girl guiding leader. Now, my daughter was in both Rainbows.
That is the other thing, was like leaders. It says there's a thing on the website. Because that's the other thing. You might get trans women wanting to be like girl guide leaders. I mean, me personally, like, fuck that. I could not. So there are some volunteer roles that are for women only, my guess is. Certain particular ones. And then other ones are for anyone. So male people can still volunteer as part of girl guiding in some capacities, like adults, you know. And yeah, after September, trans girls won't be able to. And that's the other thing. I really do wonder. I don't know how I'd find this out, but like, how many trans girls were in the Girl Guide? My inkling is it's like very, very few. And they can join the Scouts anyway. You know? Like, girls can join the Scouts. I wonder how much of it is, oh, well, my kid has to be around other girls because they're a girl too. But, like, you're putting, like, one person's needs above others, potentially.
And brownies, and on her first OLAVE, I've checked with her, she said I could explain this. On her first OLAVE, which is an overnight, they were up very late and they had drinks and all sorts, and she wet the bed. And the next morning, you know, she was helped with her intimate care by a female leader. Now, I would be personally very concerned.
Yeah, you do wonder. Imagine, well, like, you know, what was it, 10 to 14? What age was it again? Sorry, I feel like a right fucking nonce just being on here. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Yeah, 10 to 14 years. That is puberty, pretty much. Maybe a little bit before. You imagine, like, there's only a male member of staff available, and one of them's just starting their period for the first time. Do they necessarily want to be dealt with by a male person? Does a male person necessarily know what to do in that instance? You'd hope they'd have training, but it still might make some of these girls uncomfortable. And all of that needs to be considered. Sometimes it might just be easier to make it single sex, you know? And again, like, I wouldn't want to have to deal with that shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't want to make someone uncomfortable, you know?
Somebody who was identifying as a female, right, who wasn't necessarily a female.
So
helping,
again,
and the other thing, Susie,
we're conflating.
No, we're not.
We're sexual predator.
No, we're
with
not.
Somebody
but
who
bear in mind,
They're not conflating. They're saying, well, there's the possibility for harm. Are we adequately safeguarding if we're not accounting for that possibility, you know?
Bear in mind, there are already safeguarding. Can I just say, Piers, there are safeguarding holes already. So recently, we've had a convicted offender, a man called David Challoner, who advised the Green Party on their transgender policy. He was a scouting leader, and he's been imprisoned for 22 years for raping and torturing girls.
David Challoner has a daughter, a trans daughter, by the way.
He's a scouting leader.
When I say trans daughter, I mean Antia. She was, what does she do nowadays? She's had her own controversies, hasn't she? Oh, Amy Knight. Yeah, so this person's dad is a nonce and a trans woman. I'm pretty sure this person is Lib Dem now. Like if they're a nutty trans person and they're a politician, they're either Green or Lib Dem. And they probably used to be in one and moved to the other because of some bullshit or other. Many such cases. Well, a few such cases. What was this person? I'm sure this person had some issues as well. He had a 10-year-old in the attic he was torturing. That doesn't surprise. Suspended after tweets appeared on a fiance's account stating he fantasized about children having sex. What? What the fuck is going on around this person? This is fucking nuts. Autistic, wow, amazing. Reddit. You're a Reddit mod. I like how Wikipedia, like, constantly, whenever it's a trans person, they have to constantly mention all this, like, transphobic abuse, all these mean people, all this, like, internet bullshit. Like, I don't know if there's too much around this person. It's more a father.
Point I was
And
making.
he's a man.
No, but here's the point I'm making.
He's not trans.
Here's the point
There's
I'm
no
making.
link to
In
trans.
every other aspect
He has a link.
of school life.
There's a link between males, though. You're just changing which demographic you're talking about.
He's got
right?
transgender.
Yeah, and the pretending sex doesn't exist was a real thing around this time. It still is, but it doesn't work as well.
But here's the point. In every aspect of school life, there is segregation of sexes, right? There just is. And the idea that you can just wake up one day and say, right, I feel like now I'm not a boy, I want to be a girl. I fully respect people that go through the whole process, the journey. It takes years. If you go through that, you have my absolute admiration. It's a very tough thing to do. However, at the early stages, when you may not even be completely sure, the idea that you just enter a female environment where at schools you would be segregated, that causes parents concern. Why should those parents
And as
not
Caroline says, it's
at
not
least
just
allowed to be
children.
informed?
So where
It's
are they
adults.
segregated?
I've got a
When you're
girl,
saying
my daughter's nearly 7.
segregated,
I'd like to know. I'd like to know.
whether or not
It wouldn't make me bigoted or prejudiced. I'd just like to know.
Because she might come back with.
Yeah, some parents are going to be like, well, I'm assuming that my girl is just around other girls here. You might want to know if someone there is male. Like, that's the thing. Like, what if something happens? You just never know.
Questions.
I think it's very unlikely that anything would have happened because there's probably been about fucking 3 girl guides that were trans, like, total. But I don't know how I'd find that out, which is annoying. I don't know how I'd find out the kind of demographic. Actually, that's a thing. Can you find out... Is there a map of where there are groups? Finding your nearest unit. There's not a... There's not like a map or anything. That's the thing. It might help to see where there are units available, to see where there aren't, and whether that kind of maps on with how wealthy the area is, you know. You wonder how many units there are in like fucking Sussex versus like the northeast or something, for example. You'd imagine probably more down south than up north because it's just wealthier down south in the UK. Usually. Depends where you are, obviously.
And if you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to answer them.
So when you're saying questions, what you're talking about, I mean...
A question
bearing
like,
in mind,
does a woman have a penis? No, she doesn't.
Bearing in mind that children...
Can a woman have a penis? Can a man get pregnant? Anna, I just want to know, can a woman have a penis?
In these circumstances, trans girls who are in this position.
Is there a debate over Unite the Kingdom? I haven't seen it. I really don't like Tommy Robinson, so maybe I'd be very biased.
Where they are sharing spaces with other girls, their friends.
Yes.
You know, it'll be their friends.
And then if that girl,
they don't
friends, but on a school trip, they wouldn't be allowed to be together.
Yeah, they
in a
would.
tent.
No,
That's
and a
the
brown-
point. They would under the Equality Act.
No.
Not anymore.
Girls are seen as girls, and they are meant to be treated
Not anymore.
as girls, and trans girls are girls. So there is no.
But parents
me-
wouldn't.
This is what I mean. It's like forcible. Like forcible. Trans girls are girls. We don't need to elaborate. We don't need to explain how that shit works. Just in all areas of life, that's just how it is now. You wonder why there was a backlash. You wonder why this didn't end up working and why things are changing so much now and why the Equality Act went the way it did. Well, it's because you can't really justify this shit.
No.
Okay, the European Court of Human Rights.
Wait a second. Let me ask,
Sometimes, but that's a decision mainly for the parents of the trans girl to make.
What about this issue? So last week, Credit Suisse, right, congratulate Pips Bunce on being listed on the top 100 female executives list in
Oh, Pips Bunce. There's another bourgeoisie fucking trans activist, probably. I bet this person has swanned around at plenty of award ceremony. British LGBT Awards, there we go. Yeah, this is something I really want to get into. Is this like fucking bougie fucking activism shit that has done fuck all to like serve the kinds of people that actually need the kind of activism that we should be doing. Instead, we get activism we don't need for people that don't really need it at all, such as the kind of trans person that might have joined the Girl Guides, you know. Why did they have Bring Me to Life on? What the fuck? I don't know. I'll save this for a minute.
2018. This is their official Twitter account, right? Pips Bunce says, I'm truly honoured and humbled by this award, blah, 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 right? Pips Bunce is a guy called Philip Bunce who he identifies on his own Twitter biography as a proud father and husband, but he occasionally dresses as a woman. And because he occasionally decides, I'm feeling like a woman today, he's on the list of the top 100 female executives in the country, even though his
That is really stupid, by the way.
Twitter biography
The word female means, you know, it refers to sex, not gender.
he says, I'm a proud father and husband. This self-identifying thing is problematic, isn't it? Because that clearly puts all the genuine female executives who listen.
And by the way, I wonder, so this can technically work both ways, but does it really seem as likely that a trans man is going to end up on some list of like 100 most influential like male executives or whatever, as in reverse? Bearing in mind, women are just kind of disadvantaged in this area, and there's still like, you know, there's still some inequality, and women just don't have as many opportunities and haven't had as long to get to these kind of positions as men have. It just doesn't seem as likely that a trans man is going to like muscle their way in the way that a trans woman can. And often these trans women that win these awards and get put up for, oh, you're one of the most influential females in this, that, or the other, even though they're male. Often these are the kinds of people that have been successful for a long time as a man and then come out as a woman in like their 40s or whatever. And they're just like straight to the top because they're already rich and connected and successful. You wonder about that kind of thing. It's very unfeminist in my opinion.
On their own Twitter bios, I'm a female, at a disadvantage, doesn't it?
To be fair, again, what's this got to do with Girl Guide?
It's all about self-identification. I think is becoming, it's becoming a bit of a fad, and unfortunately people are I think, exploiting it in a way that I feared from the start.
In Ireland, it's been there for over 2 years. Malta, Denmark, Argentina, there has not been a single case of a trans person abusing that right.
Okay.
So what is
What does that even mean? I clicked at exactly the wrong moment in exactly the wrong place. What does that even mean? What are we talking about?
Of a trans person abusing that right.
Okay.
So what is essentially happening here is scaremongering about a possible...
Even if that's true, does that mean that it's a good idea to just let people identify into another group? Like, how does that fucking work? Oh, hi, Caralytics. We're talking about the trans girl guides thing. And I do want to get a bit more into, yeah, this is 2018. I do want to get a bit more into, like, bougie trans activism, because that shit pisses me. Yeah, so that was this. So girl guides used to be very inclusive to the point where it was kind of don't say trans in a way, and people got expelled just for questioning this policy. Very, very of its time. Very much in 2018, we were trying to brute force the way that this Susie Green person is. The idea that trans women are women, trans men are men, and now must be included in every aspect of female-only or male-only life, which doesn't work. There are certain places where I think we should just leave women to it, or leave men to it, especially when it comes to women. So this year, because of the Supreme Court thing, was it this year or last year? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it was last year. Trans girls can't join the girl guides anymore, fucking over at least 5 people, you know, total. Nepotism. Yeah, I mean, it's not just nepotism, it's about having, like, male privilege your whole life. I don't know how to talk about this without sounding like a dickhead, I'm so sorry. You have that kind of male privilege your whole life, you're able to be successful as a man, and then you transition or you become a crossy or whatever. And then 2 years later, you're winning, like, awards for being one of the best females in business and stuff like that. It really is insane to me. I haven't had any issues. I'm aware I exclude things like immediate access to gender-specified healthcare. Okay. I don't really know how. I mean, we tried self-ID. We tried to get self-ID in the UK for GRCs, but GRCs don't do fuck all anyway. And it got shot down by Westminster, probably for the best. I don't really think you should just be able to say, I've decided that legally I'm the other sex now. Like, that doesn't really make much sense to me. I think ideally it should still be gatekept behind things like surgery, but I kind of get why they can't do it that way. But initially that's what it was for. Initially GRCs were for, like, post-op. Like, well, you know, I'm treated as a man, even though I don't have the equipment, you know. I'm treated as a part of, you know, the rape statistic where I'm overwhelmingly more likely to rape someone than the other way around because I'm male. I don't even have a penis and can't legally rape anyone. That kind of thing. Seems the trans issue hasn't been handled with the care it deserves. Yeah, I agree. It's fucked on both sides. There's a lot of bullshit going around on both sides. Anyway, so I want to look at the protests recently. Like, the fact that there are protests around this kind of thing is fucking insane to me. Why are we protesting trans girls being banned from the girl guide? Why is this part of the conversation? Who honestly cares this much about this whole thing, you know? I feel like there are just so many bigger issues that we need to deal with and should be talking about far more than we are. You know, things like, you know, trans people being more likely to be in poverty, things like the current state of the NHS when it comes to trans healthcare. But instead we're protesting girl guiding, not allowing 5 people to continue being part of girl guiding, if that. I pretend our patriarchal male privilege doesn't benefit us significantly. Well, yeah, that's the thing. And this is what I mean. Like, people like this person piss me off fucking endlessly. Because this person has lived as a man till the age of 48, has become incredibly successful and connected, and now inserts themselves as a trans woman. Having lived their whole life with male privilege, benefiting off of it, and continuing to interface with the world with that history, acting as if they're oppressed, whining in fucking award ceremonies that no fucking normal ass trans people are showing up to. Do you know who this fucking loser is? Do you know who this fucking loser is on this thumbnail? Like, just below my mouse, this Fox Fisher guy. He's another fucking bougie prick. He was the one that, was it business class or first class? I can't remember. He made some kind of complaint about someone wearing a adult human female t-shirt. It was on fucking LinkedIn or something, wasn't it? Shit. Was it on LinkedIn? This might be a different thing. There we go. Trans women are women. Once again, we just brute force it. It was about an airline. Yes. Upper class. This motherfucker is complaining on LinkedIn because he was on the upper class. He was in upper class on a flight to San Francisco. And someone was wearing a woman t-shirt. Like, it's fucking insane. That's what kind of people these activists are. They're fucking bougie pricks. How many fucking trans people are flying upper class to fucking San Francisco? Like, who fucking cares? What a fucking loser. And these are the kinds of people, like these fucking award ceremonies and shit.
Well, time now, though, for our next debate.
Please stop. Those are the kinds of people swanning around at these fucking award ceremonies, accepting awards for positive role model. Who's positive role model? You ain't nothing like me. If there's a fucking class war that starts fucking tomorrow, you fucking pricks are on the other side of it to me. Fuck yourselves. Anyway, sorry. I get so fucking pissed off with this shit, man. Anyway, we'll watch this. We'll watch this. These are the protests that were happening when this band came in.
We're here for trans rights. We're here for trans rights. Mighty,
These
mighty
girl guides and
trans
leaders
This is insanely fucking cringe and embarrassing, by the way.
say they represent members who are angry at the organisation's move to ban transgender girls from joining.
Girl Guiding has always been mega supportive to me, but I'm concerned for my friends who no longer feel they have a place.
Jamie is non-binary and planned to train as a Girl Guide leader, but doesn't know if that will still be possible.
What? Talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean? HSBC. Yeah. Mischief was talking about like sponsors, like corporate sponsors and shit. I do need to, when I look at that, I do need to like investigate some of the corporate sponsors. It's like rotten from the bottom to the top. It's all fucking privileged, fucking moneyed up fucking shit. It's disgusting. It says nothing and does nothing for the average fucking trans people trying to get by, working shitty jobs, being too fucking mentally ill to work shitty jobs to do another shit instead, just about getting by, watching these fucking losers talk about utter bollocks, fucking all this. Oh, it gets me angry. I'm sorry, I'll stop. Yeah, this person doesn't know if they can still train as a Girl Guide leader because they're non-binary. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? What the fuck do you think? It's like when non-binary people are like, well, I don't know which bathroom to go in now. Yes, you do. You do know which bathroom to go in. Stop fucking around.
As someone who was bullied due to my gender identity and my sexuality when I was in primary school, it gave me a place where I could be myself. And I hope that other people can keep having that space.
Some of the leaders here say they now feel they have no other option than to quit or close their groups.
As a volunteer, that if Girl Guiding aren't going to make some kind
They're going to close the groups, so now all the girls in the area lose the opportunities because they won't let males in. Oof.
of change here, then I just can't see myself being able to continue, which breaks my heart.
Girl Guiding's massively now about inclusivity. We've got badges on including others, on being true to your beliefs, and if the main charity can't uphold those values, it's difficult for me to run a local unit that does the same.
The protest here in Sheffield is one of 3 taking place across the country.
Yeah, so very few people. Every single one of these people looks far too old to be in the Girl Guides in the first place. None of the people in the Girl Guides, as, actual Girl Guides, are very fast, apparently. First world problems. Yep, very true. That's a big theme. That's a big thing that I want to talk about is like trans activists endlessly fucking klaxoning over first world problems instead of talking about real shit.
Trying to overturn the decision to stop
Are they going to try and say Section 28 is coming back? People already do. I mean, in my Helen Webley video, there's a thing about it because she platformed some retard called Matthew Hodson that said that Section 28 was coming back for trans people because the two of them can't fucking read a RSHE guidance thing, which Helen also miscited in this. Like, miscited the fuck out of it then as well. And we went over it yesterday.
trans girls joining girl guiding. The decision was made following the Supreme
What's that sign in the background? I'm not sure.
Court judgment earlier this year that defined a woman as someone
Difficult for me to run a local unit that does the same.
Earlier this year.
Yeah, I can't see it.
That defined a woman as someone who was born female.
Be very careful what you do now. Call the police.
With the strength of feeling on both sides of this issue on full display when a lone counter-protester tried to disrupt the action in Sheffield.
They're boys. There's no definition.
Wait, I recognise this woman. She was the one that got kicked out of the trans pride thing in London, right? I remember sticking up for her at the time, and I feel a bit silly because, to be honest, I think protests need to be kept separate. And if you're going to be the minority in a protest, the police are going to remove you because it's easier. And because ultimately what they care about in that moment is keeping the peace. And I think I was like, oh yeah, she's hard done by. I don't really feel that way anymore. What the fuck was her name? Jesus Christ. Oh, there was this Connie Shaw thing. I need to watch this, but I don't know if I'll have time today. I'll be honest, Connie Shaw's like content on GB News is fucking terrible. I watched, was it this one? This was like fucking cringy. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, this is the problem. You kind of hear some of what these people say, or you hear a speech in fucking Cambridge, like that Maeve Halligan person. And it's like, yeah, you know what, broadly I agree with you and shit like that. And then you listen to them a bit more and it's like, okay, you're actually just a fucking nut as well. You're actually just the other side of the coin. Can't remember. Fuck. She met up with Steve as well. It was at a Girl Guides thing. Fuck, hang on. Okay. Sorry, I hit my mic. He had Steve making an absolute twat out of himself at this protest. And like, this was like, everyone involved was embarrassing. I watched this whole thing, like, I think in my own time. I don't think I watched this on stream. This fucking song, like, actually made me want to die. It got that bad. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? He hangs around with her for a while. She shows up to a lot of these things. This lady here on the right. I forget what her name was. Jean Hatchett, that's the one. Yes, there was a bigger... The new Connie Shaw thing as Sarah Jane Baker in it. Fuck me, dude. I do need to watch it, I just don't know if I'll have time today. That sounds juicy though, I gotta say. It gives me an excuse to shit on both sides, which is what I like doing these days, so... Fuck it. Yeah, I know, Steve... He learned, oh my god, I remember this now. He learned the word antagonize for the first time because a policeman told him that it looked like he was antagonizing people. And then every time he talked, he was like, oh, I'm not antagonizing, no. Yeah, so this Jean Hatchett woman was kicked out of another protest by the police. And I thought it was out of order at the time, but these days I feel very differently.
Of girl that includes boys. The Supreme Court judgment made that explicitly clear.
Ooh, actual male person there.
Protesters also gathered in London and Edinburgh. Girl Guiding told us they're aware their decision has had an impact on members, volunteers and supporters, but say it was made following expert legal.
Wait, is this the same one? Oh, fuck. What was it? I'm trying to remember all these different like weird fucking protest things I watched now. There's so many of them. I need this one. No, I don't need this one. This is Steve. Was it Wesley Winter? I want to say Wesley Winter. Just want to see if it's the same thing.
It's not about whether they're trans.
Connie Shaw again. Is this the same? I swear that's the same person. This person said some weird fucking shit. This helmet here. It looks like the same one.
Does say a few words about the counter-protesters? What are your thoughts on that?
Can I see if cis girls have started to leave Girl Guides in protest? Well, I mean, in that Sky News thing we watched, was it Sky News? Whatever it was. Good Morning Britain, that's the one. There was a woman that was saying that she wouldn't want her kid to sign up for the Girl Guides because of it. That probably is a thing. I don't know how much I'd be able to show that less girls are joining because they're allowing trans girls in. Or on the flip side, if more people are starting to let their kids join because they're excluding them now.
I wouldn't mind going to bed with some of them, to be honest.
Go to bed. Lovely. So what, you're straight, you're into...
This person's in this as well. Crazy.
Into women or into men, is that?
I don't know. I just want to get laid.
Right, lovely, lovely. Yeah, what's your thoughts on these signs?
Did I see that Wesley Winter got jumped? Yes, he got the shit kicked out of him.
Women-only sports.
Like, I don't know. He went to a foreign country to, like, some, like, protest with, like, no security or anything. He's fucking nuts, bro. I don't know what these people are thinking. To be honest, I think Wesley Winter seems incredibly stupid, but he is successful, so I don't know.
Defend women's rights.
Touch some grass, you might like some trannies.
So you think they should go to the other side, try some trannies? Is that what they should do?
You shouldn't just, touch some grass. That's people's problem.
That's this person.
Legal advice and wasn't in response to any safeguarding concerns.
We think Girl Guiding has done the right thing. This is the law. They're a charity.
I'm extremely surprised that Maya Forstater thinks
that is set up for women and girls, and it's clear that that means female people. And so this was the only step that they could take.
But the members here say the organisation no longer upholds the values that made them proud to represent it. Katie Barnfield, Sky News in Sheffield.
Yeah, I don't see the point in protesting this, but okay. So this looked interesting as well. I'll have a look at this. So we've got March 2026. So this is quite recent as well. Jeremy Vine. Are the Girl Guides right to kick out transgender girls? We've got Katie John Went, who's a trans woman. I think she went on, was it Andrew Gold? Mischief knows a lot more about Katie John Went than I do. Sure, it was Andrew Gold. Yeah. Did I watch this? I can't remember if I watched this. Did a TED talk. Like, I think I remember she was at least somewhat trying to like present as like reasonable trans in quotation marks. Mostly I just know, oh, there was this is the same, that Jean Hatchett person, it's the same woman. Yeah, I don't know. Give trans people more mental health support and less surgeries. Maybe. Depends. did a TED talk. She's been on GB News. Katie John Wentz says, including pronouns in email signatures could be misguided allyship. I kind of agree with that. I don't see the point. We don't need to normalize like stating your pronoun. If you're trans, then surely you want people to call you something without you having to tell them. Otherwise, how is that helping your dysphoria? How would it help your dysphoria if you're a trans woman to say, can you call me a woman, please? Because then people are calling you a woman because you told them to, not because they think you're one. Isn't the whole point, if you're a trans woman, that you want people to think you're a woman and instinctively call you a woman without you asking? The problem is so many ugly people want to transition that have no hope in hell of ever being seen as a woman, that they're forced to do that. And now we're like, well, we have to, you know, well, the non-passing trans woman, well, you made that decision to fucking transition. It's not everyone else's fucking fault. I'm sorry. Come on. Anyway, so this person was on this. I don't know what side of any argument anyone is here. So we're going to watch this and find out. Wow. Have a press of the like button on my stream. I think it's the least you can do. Don't forget you can super chat on YouTube or Streamlabs, and links in my description. You can join the channel. You can give a super sticker, which I will describe for you. You can join my Discord. You can check my music out. I have music. Anyway.
Of the day. Are Girl Guides UK right to kick out trans?
Another self-appointed trans rap. Yeah, I kind of get that impression. Like, they seem like they're at least somewhat, like, not completely captured or completely stupid on this issue. But we'll see. Wait. Bridget Phillipson bans trans women from female toilets following guidance.
Is the
guidance is expected today. Wait, so it's not... We don't actually know? Is this what actually... Is this what actually happened? Or is this just what we think is going to happen? This says could. Oh, I don't know. I'll figure that out maybe.
Transgender girls.
The thing is, you can ban trans women from women's toilets. If you pass well enough, no one's going to notice and it's not going to be an issue. If you don't pass well enough, you don't resemble a woman, you're probably going to make people uncomfortable, and you really should consider just using the men's. Being considerate, you know, other people mattering as well as you, that kind of shit. But we're all main characters. Trans activism is now very individualistic and not about improving society as a whole and uplifting those that are less fortunate. It's about some fucking loser has it all already, but now wants to be called a woman even though they don't look like one. Wow. You might not be included as a woman in all areas of life because not everyone thinks you're one. Anyway.
207-862-2222 is the number that you need. Now, before we get into this, just want to make the point of saying that we know that this is an emotive subject for some people, and we want this to be a respectful and sensitive debate.
Absolutely. So Girl Guiding UK has said that transgender girls will no longer be able to remain members from September. This affects children aged between 4 and 18 across Rainbows, Brownies, Guides and Rangers, as well as volunteers. Now, the move follows a 2025 Supreme Court.
Oh, Billy, that's just a guy pointing. That's just like a footwear advert. It's probably just some model or other.
Ruling defining sex as biological sex under the equality law. The decision has prompted strong reactions, some campaigners calling it heartbreaking for the children affected, while others say that it is the right step in protecting single-sex spaces. Carol, what's your initial reactions on this?
I think it's the right decision to make. As you pointed out, it's a reaction to the Supreme Court ruling in 2025 that said sex means biological sex. And so I think the Girl Guide, the association, has been incredibly responsible.
Very surprised by a Daily Express columnist having this.
They're following the law. They're protecting girls, but I'm just wondering how many trans girl guides there are. No data currently exists on the numbers in the ranks, none whatsoever. And if there were a lot of trans girl guides, there would be data, and there just isn't. So I think this is trans girl guides there are. But I'm just wondering how many trans girl guides there are. No data currently exists on.
Okay, so if this person is correct, then I'm not going to find out how many trans girls have ever been in the Girl Guide. So all I can do is assume, and my assumption is really not very many. So again, you can argue on the one point, well, is it really a problem if there's hardly any of them? You could argue using the same point, well, we're not really fucking over many people. So.
On the numbers in the ranks, none whatsoever. And if there were a lot of trans girl guides, there would be data, and there just isn't. So I think this is the fuss that's been created over this is by a group called the Guiders Against Trans Exclusion, and I see the hand of trans activists in this. I don't think it really is a problem in the guides. I don't think there would be that many. I'd be amazed if there's a handful across the country.
Well, you were crunching the numbers. You're right. There is no exact number, but
there's
you can
no
kind
data at all.
Well, just to give people an idea of what we're talking about, the rough numbers, and you're right, there isn't a specific...
Where is this from? Tell me where this is from. It's really...
Let me give you some numbers, okay. and then we don't have the numbers of trans people because they don't keep those. But there's roughly 300,000 members. So that gives us an idea of roughly the full membership of what we're talking about. The largest contingent...
Probably to stop trans guide leaders. Hey, maybe.
About 40% of those 300,000 is the brownies, which is the age of 7 till 10. And Carol's right. You know, though the number of transgender girls in Girl Guides is completely unknown. The only thing that people have done, and these are again estimates, we don't have the actual numbers, is to go off the UK census, which is around 1%.
Census. Dude, it's not gonna be. Come on, bro. It's not gonna be. There's, let's say, 1% of the UK population is trans, therefore 1% of Girl Guides are trans. It's gonna be far fucking less. You just know. I'm sorry. The same argument they use for sport. Well, yeah, that's the thing. If there's not many trans athletes in women's sports, then you're not fucking over many people if you ban them. So it goes both ways, you know.
Of 16 to 24-year-olds identified as trans. Now, trying to translate that back down to younger years is really inexact. So we really don't know how many people
we don't know, but this is a very conceptual debate now. So this is all around the Supreme Court ruling. What does it mean for the society and the generation of trans girls coming through in society? How can we manage single...
Most of them have far bigger problems to deal with than whether they can join the Girl Guides or not. Let's be fucking real.
Sex space.
They're more likely, aren't they more likely to be homeless? They're more likely to be impoverished. You're just probably not seeing many of them in there. And I imagine, like, is the Girl Guides even popular anymore? Not sure. There's the tiny numbers behind the Girl Guiding Trans Planet. So this, this person is a Twitter presence. This person's a fucking retard. If they're on Twitter, they're probably a fucking retard. So we can probably take this argument and just flip it on its head very easily, I would imagine. I might even bookmark this. This has actually helped this. These fucking people. Only 3,600 on the national waiting list for under 18s, and most of them are female to male. Yeah, that's the thing. If we're gonna, that's the other thing, is we're gonna have to say, well, trans people are 1% of the population, but trans men and trans boys, if we're calling them that, are the majority of that as well. There's far more trans men these days than trans women. How many descendants of DES pregnancies are there? Fuck knows. I mean, probably not a huge amount. Won't most of those people be, like, in adulthood now? When was DES used? Wasn't that, like, years and years ago? I suppose you're saying descendants. You're saying, you know, grandkids and stuff. Maybe. Yeah, how many trans girls are we really talking about? Even fewer than you think. Okay, so who are we fucking over then? You know, it would be very funny to use this post in my video I'm thinking about making and being like, there's hardly any of them, so it doesn't fucking matter. We might as well just fucking eat them off. Just fuck them off. Let them join the Scouts. Why can't they just join the Scouts? What fucking difference does it make? Considering the Scouts let girls in. So it's not that it doesn't affirm your sex or your gender identity or whatever. Because Scouts is all inclusive. Joining the Scouts doesn't mean you're male, doesn't mean you're a boy, you know? The theoretical, I would be amazed. I would be blown the fuck away if there were 690 trans girl guides. So, more realistic numbers, 497. I would be amazed if it's funny. The other thing is, though, how many of the descendants of DES are still having kids at that point? If more of them are coming out as trans, then presumably fewer of them are having kids at all. Oh, the Good Law Project is challenging AHRC guidance. Fuck the Good Law Project. The Good Law Project are working with Patsy Stevenson, who was hanging out with fucking Will Coleshill and fucking... What's that dickhead's name? Anti-lockdown guy. Hey Cuckoo. There's a really good video about it by this guy called Fascist Beware, which sounds like it'd be really cringe, but actually it was really good. That's another thing. I wonder if like Good Law Project are a good target for hitting on bougie activism. I bet fucking Jolly on Morm. I bet he wants for nothing. I bet he's decently well off, you know. And he has multiple trans kids, so you know.
With inclusive spaces, how can we now? So this is all around the Supreme Court ruling. What does it mean for the society and the generation of trans girls coming through in society? How can we manage single-sex spaces with inclusive spaces and mixed gender spaces to ensure that we can be respectful towards each other? So that number might be very small, but these are really big moments in our society, because what we don't want to do is have a cohort of people feeling they're excluded from all communities.
There is no cohort.
If you're trans, you're probably just going to be excluded from some shit, and by the time you've been trans for any length of time, you're probably just fucking used to it.
You say that.
I do say that because no data exists, and if the girl guy,
so the no data exists because there is no. At the moment, we don't need to capture gender identity when it comes to children's blood.
How would it be practical or safe? You know,
but the issue. Let's just say there's one. Let's just say Carol.
It's getting ridiculous already.
The clue is in the name, the girl guides. A trans girl guide is not a girl, it's a boy.
But let's just say there's even zero right now.
It's a boy.
Just say we're talking about zero, but we need to plan for the fact that they may be those coming through, and we need to make sure that they still understand their place of belonging. That's what this comes down to.
Yes, in the Scouts, where everyone can go because it's gender neutral. Why do both of them need to be gender neutral? What's the fucking difference? Oh, my child has to do the girl activities because they're a girl. Okay.
With respect to the Supreme Court ruling.
This is about practicality and safety. Say if a group of girl guides are going away camping and you have a trans girl in a tent with a group of young 13.
Those girls will definitely get raped. I'm joking. That's a joke.
13-year-old girls. It can't happen.
So then the issue here is having that conversation.
The other problem is, like, she has a point, especially now, because the protections for like single-sex spaces are stronger. And in the Equality Act, it does mean, like, female people, certain single-sex spaces, women are female, you know? Girls are female. So, realistically, it would be a fucking nightmare to preserve single-sex spaces whilst also accommodating, like, maybe one trans teenager.
This would be a young trans girl too. I mean, you're saying...
Not a brownie, I'm talking about guides, not brownies, guides. So guides are like 13, 12,
yeah,
13.
So you would
whatever.
have a 13-year-old trans girl potentially sharing with 13-year-old girls.
A boy. So you're talking about a boy
I'm talking about
sharing.
I'm talking about a child.
You're talking about a
sharing with another
biological
child.
boy sharing a tent.
Do you know, can I say the one thing? I want to, I'll just put the question out. How many of people know trans people and trans children? Because I do. And the moment you do, you see the lived experience, the challenges. Their life has been a challenge to that point. So what we want to do is still allow them to feel human, whilst respecting the ruling if you're going to take it into account. So that means planning for it and having this discussion, even if we're talking about one child and it's just one child.
Okay, so you have to change the way the guides are
We need to
run
plan
for a handful of
Okay, but hold on, Carol. Actually, the guides are changing now because of the Supreme Court ruling, so it's the opposite way around. I'm really pleased to say that we're joined now by Katie John Went, who is a diversity and inclusion campaigner. Katie, what's your initial reaction to the Girl Guides announcement?
Oh, well, like Carol, to some extent, it was the legal, necessary, obvious next step. It was going to happen. You know, in some respects, I liked the fact that they took their time, that they expressed regret. This wasn't a decision they came to easily, but they didn't have much choice but to follow the law. I find it interesting that we're talking about the language. You know, there is no cohort, or we should do it for one person. But in fact, if you look at the majority of, I've worked with trans youth, and if you look at the majority of gender questioning and
I wish British people wouldn't like use a D instead of a T. That's how Americans talk. Please talk more.
Trans youth, I would say 40% of them are probably identifying as non-binary now. And as you said, the clue is in the name. They're girl guides.
Yeah, I bet a lot of the trans youth is like non-binary females. Why would they want to join the fucking Girl Guides? But they can if they want to, I guess.
Clue is also in the name that Boy Scouts are no longer Boy Scouts, and that they went mixed sex back in the in the 70s, and then effectively in the 90s they made it voluntary, and in the 2000s they made it compulsory, and so they're just the Scouts now, and girls are mixing with the Scouts. In fact, they make up a third of their members, their numbers. They're the fastest growing contingent within Scouts, whereas Girl Guides are actually struggling for membership and volunteers to work with them. I think what may happen in this two things is, one, in the future, that Girl Guides may just drop girl, and so actually you end up by really strongly going after single sex spaces legally, the same way toilets are heading more in that kind of single use or gender neutral direction. You might find that a single sex space actually does become a mixed sex space, but it changes its name so that it complies with the law, because if they just dropped the word girl, then they would comply with the law and they would just be guides. So I have a feeling that that's what will eventually happen.
I'm just a bit confused, because you say it's legally the next step that the Girl Guide Guiding UK has to take, but when we take the example of Scouts, okay, is mixed gender, all individuals, including trans individuals, but they also say on it that sleeping arrangements will be done on the basis, when they go out camping and those sorts of things, as they often do, will be done on the basis of identification, on what they identify as. So I don't understand why it's not legally an obligation for the Scouts, but it is a legal obligation for...
This woman is really dumb. Like, who are these people? Her name's Storm, or is it Alexis? Either way, she's really fucking dumb. Literally what this person said was, well, legally they're going to have to make it single sex because it's called girl guiding. The Scouts are just called the Scouts. They're not called the Boy Scouts. It's because it's the Girl Guides that it is, like, supposed to be single sex. It's in the name. It literally just said that.
Girl Guides.
Yeah, I mean well, it's what is commonly raised by...
It's like if you just say, if your business just has a toilet, you're not providing a single sex space. And it's not, you're not obligated for that space to be single sex because it's just a toilet. If you provide a woman's toilet and a men's toilet, then those should be single sex because they are women's and men's toilets. It's about whether it's, is not stating. If the Scouts is just called the Scouts, then it doesn't have to be single sex. It's called the Boy Scouts. The implication is it's for male people, It's quite basic. It's quite obvious.
Gender critical groups or biological sex defending groups, is the fact that if something is named a gendered space, then we mean biological sex as that gendered space.
I don't know if it has to be suspect that a trans woman might want to be a Girl Guide leader, but optically it is not good. And optically fighting this hard for trans girls to be allowed in Girl Guiding is not good. Like, we don't need to keep reigniting, like, the sex wars for all eternity. And it's just such a stupid thing to fucking care this much about, to be honest. The amount of debate around this topic, it doesn't fucking matter. Why aren't we talking about something real?
Which is the way the Supreme Court's gone. So if they call themselves Girl Guides, it is a girl space. And however much we regard the language of identity as a girl, it is not the same as a definition of a space as is now.
Storm used to take calls on Matthew Wright. So I don't know who Matthew Wright is. I don't know which is which. Maybe Alexis is the woman. I don't know, because both of those names can be gender neutral.
Legally.
Katie, it's good to see you, by the way.
Again, yeah, hi, Carol.
Good to see you. You said before that you think the Girl Guides are struggling for membership. You can't be saying they're struggling for membership because of the trans stance, are you?
No, not at all, because of the trans stance, no.
Yeah, maybe everyone here, like, how am I rooting for the trans person? I'm supposed to be a pick-me. This is not fair. I'm supposed to be a fucking pick-me. I'm supposed to be like, no, the trans person is always wrong. The trans person is a weird fucking AGP pervert, whatever shit. All of these people are so fucking... Just listen to what this person is saying. It's not fucking difficult. Like, what is happening here? This is like the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Because of the trans...
Oh, it's been published now. Wow. I will say, I was very nervous about my Helen Wabley video because I knew that the guidance hadn't been published. I mean, it doesn't actually matter because even if they're not allowing male people in single-sex spaces, that still isn't banning trans women or trans people from public life, so it's still fine. I am probably going to get a bunch of shitty comments now on my Helen Wabley video, being like, oh, you said that the guidance, it's unlikely they'll say that trans people should be excluded from public life. Well, they haven't said that. They've said something else. Alexis is the guy. Okay, so Storm is the woman. Yeah. All of them seem really dumb so far. Katie John Went actually seems like the sane one. So far, somehow. Where's it been posted? I hate GB News, but it's true, Guide's dying out because it's old-fashioned. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that whole thing was kind of